You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic boot camp, California Jam, Move Well University, the Black Diamond Club, Pure Chiro Notes, the Chiro Dex app, Dr. Alok Trivedi, Chiro Spark, Chirogram, Chiropractic Wealth Management, 8 Weeks to Wellness, Integrative Freedom, and Element Mattresses. Let's hustle. Hey guys, Jim Chester with the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I have a sponsorship edition here. This is my good friend Christopher J. Collins. He is down in the Palm Beach area, actually Stuart, Florida. I'm coming to you from the Grand Valley of Grand Junction out here on the Western Slope. Don't tell anybody it's cool out here because I just got here 12 or 15 days ago. I absolutely love it. But Christopher Collins runs a business called Chirogram, and I'm just going to let him dive right in right away before I start telling you the awesome results I've got by using his services. But Chris, let's talk to them about Chirogram, why you did it, and who it's helping.
So Chirogram was originally built because I was having a hard time. I watched Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm a fan of his. And I know how important Instagram is, right? But at the same time, you go on there and you try to grow your following, and you can very easily get in trouble with trying to buy robots or something like this where it damages your brand. So I set out first really digging in and figuring out how to do this, and then doing it secondly for docs. So it was built for my practice, and now I help docs. I currently manage around 60 accounts of docs, and we're just building their Instagram accounts progressively over time. So building that audience so you have people that are watching what's happening in your office. A lot of docs will start off with 200-300 followers, their aunt, their family members, things like this. But the goal should really be to have everyone in your town watching what is happening in your office and keeping up with you, so that when they have a problem, they're going to show up. And as that brand builds, initially, maybe 1,000 a month, and as you're growing, and all of a sudden you have thousands of people who are watching what you're doing, and you can even we can send out for you direct messages, so you don't even have to wait for brand critical mass to hit, and we can generate new patient leads from the get by sending out a message to new followers to create leads for you. So that's the whole premise. It's leveraging Instagram to build a brand for you in your town, and secondly, to generate new patient leads by reaching out and saying hi and letting them know how you can help. So that's the whole idea.
So why Instagram? Why not Facebook?
Facebook has a lot of, for me, this is my opinion. One, Facebook bought Instagram a few years ago, so they recognize how powerful it is. Inherently, it's a cooler platform. You only have one lead out, one link out. You're not inundated with ads as much as you are. It's a cooler app, so you tend to get like 10x the engagement. So for the same number of followers, you'll get 10 times the likes and comments. It's a more engaging platform. So for me, Facebook is best used for making ads for your events, and then making ads for content that you're putting up. But on Instagram, which has a huge audience, I don't know the exact numbers now, like 800 million or something like this. Obviously, Facebook is a larger audience, but 800 million people and growing, for pennies on the dollar for what you would spend. Instead of spending $400 to $1,000 a month in Facebook ads for your content and for your events, you can spend $89 or $100 a month, and you can be growing organically your audience. And when you do that, they see every post. So it's a slightly different approach, but it's organic growth versus just getting an audience through ads.
Yeah, and that's something I think is people miss that when they think of running Facebook ads. They don't realize that they're spending close to $500 to $1,000 to get results from Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Whereas you can hire a firm like yours at Chirogram, and you push out to the audience, and people are getting results for $89 a month. Now,
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about the results that people are getting and why it's effective to use your services.
So on average, I would say you'll see most doctor accounts that are purely targeting locally. And I make that distinction because there's some doctors that I work with that their goal is more of a brand across Instagram. And these are people who are, maybe they're selling a supplement line, maybe they do like virtual consulting, they want to be the next Josh Axe or somebody like this, right? There's those people who I target across Instagram to build their following. And they tend to grow faster because I have a larger pool of people. And then you have your local, Joe chiropractor practice who I am targeting people around their town. For those doctors, you'll tend to see somewhere around 1,000 a month new followers in the beginning. And then if you can imagine, if you're growing at a rate of 20 to 50 new followers today, I can send out that many direct messages to people who just, followed you. So you're sending out all of these leads saying, hey, my name is Dr. Joe. Do you have any questions or whatever? And you're going to get those leads back, which should quickly transition into a phone call and then a day one appointment. That should be your progression. And we help docs also. It's like a consultation service as well through Chirogram, where I work with them once a month and we refine that capability. But yeah.
That's really cool. And I just want to share with our audience the results you've had with me. You started working with me November 12th of 2017. And now Nick's a good buddy of mine. Actually, I got a good story if I can break the flow.
I was working with Nick for a while. We blew him up, man. He's over 10K now.
Yeah, he's out here in Grand Junction with me.
Yeah.
And my friend Natasha, she's like, she saw him at, they had like a kids event that they both took their kids to. And She's like, hey, did you know that Jim Chester moved to town?
Right on.
And he sent me like a private message the night before, which was 2 weekends ago on a Saturday night. And within like 8 hours, we were out hiking with each other the next day.
He's way cool. You can tell by his speed. He's cool.
But yeah, it was great. Now I have a great chiropractor out here in Grand Junction, and all because of word of mouth. And
he's gonna do big things too, man. He's good about putting out content and stuff. He's on the way up. You should be friends.
It's definitely going to be fun out here. Yeah, he's at 16,000.8 followers right now, so that's pretty cool.
Right
And we have Tom Potisk on the feed with us from the Mount Horeb Clinic up there at the Gonstead practice in Wisconsin. Awesome guy. I might as well just throw some more shout outs out there. We have Jose coming in from Mexico, international sensation down there. Guy's doing great things. Scott Little from Woodland Park out here in Colorado is on the feed with us. Tim Schaub from Homer, New York. He is one of the founders of the Chiro. He's one of the founders of Chiro Sushi. He actually is the reason why Tristan Schaub's so awesome.
Yes.
Good role model.
You made him.
Yeah. So thanks, guys, for being on the feed with us today. We love and appreciate you guys. And, one of the things I do every day when I pray, I say, hey, God, would you please take care of those that need it the most, and those that are doing well, please give them the extra energy that they need to do better. And I say that as one of my like staple prayers when I'm like eating. And, I think that saying that type of thing, it really means, getting somebody like you in my life, giving somebody to others. Some could be doing good, but you can help them do better. And some that need help the most, you can help them the most. And
from a philosophical standpoint, as a chiropractor, that should be your goal. Like, you should go full BJ Palmer. And in his day, it was, WHO radio. It's Instagram and Facebook now. That's where people's attention is. You should be blasting the chiropractic message and what you're doing to as many people as humanly possible. You are insane for not growing your Facebook and Instagram audiences. Now you have the key to life, man.
Now I have a really fun question for you. Some people are really happy with where they're at in the world. They're like, I don't do any types of marketing. I'm happy with my my numbers where I'm at. I'm this, I'm that. I've never marketed in my life.
You're missing the point. It's not about marketing. It's not just. I would say this: if you're not going to practice for more than like 5 years, don't worry about it. Enjoy your twilight years. Have a blast with all of your wellness patients that have been coming in since 1982.
Great advice.
Congrats. Thank you for your work and your service.
Great advice.
But if you owe it to yourself to keep up with the way that human beings are now interacting with each other and how stories are told and messages are got out. And it's happening through platforms. Whenever people are in your waiting room, you know what they're doing on their phone? They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. They're checking their email. They are doing these things They are not reading your magazines, right? They are in these platforms. This is the new. It's not even new. It's just the way it is now. So
You got to be.
you owe it to them to be the doctor that they're maybe sitting in somebody else's office, like the orthopedist who's got them on pills or whatever else, and they're going through their feed, and all of a sudden they get a notification from Joe Chiropractor, and they're looking for your feed, and they're thinking, what the heck am I doing right now in this office? I need to give this guy a call. That's the power of it, is where their attention is anyway. All of a sudden you have real estate there, and you have a story that they can scroll through and learn a totally different way of thinking and a totally new lifestyle.
So somebody that's not utilizing social, what can it do for somebody once they start turning on the faucet for Instagram?
Everybody's hyper focused, I feel like, on new patients. It's probably the questions I get most. Everybody's like, boom, 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 how many new patients? Like, what are you going to get me? What are you going to do right away? But think of it more like documentation. That's another Gary Vee thing. Like, document what's happening in your practice so people have options. So people see that there's this other thing, right? Instead of just what's the ROI positive on I'm spending 99. Am I going to get at least one new patient a month? Yeah, but the whole idea is progressively, day by day, you're amassing an audience. It's like doing your dinner with a doc talk with 15,000 people, instead of 50. So you're leveraging a place where there's a ton of people that are already involved with it. And then you're building that audience, you're building that brand. So your message, which is your most powerful weapon, right, is getting out to massive groups of people. And that's what you want. And out of that, yeah, you send out DMs, you can get new patients. But all of a sudden you are a heavyweight in your town, or even across Instagram, even across the world, more than you were before. And that should be the goal, instead of playing it small.
So guys like Dr. Nick Seacrest.
Killing it. There's 16,000 people that watched him put up a smoothie picture today. It's already put.
It's funny.
You can't overestimate that power. It's like 16,000 people watched his banana smoothie. You know what I mean? 16,000 people watched him talking about their spine or whatever he's doing.
Yeah, that's hilarious because I took smoothie pictures this morning that I haven't posted yet.
Yeah, exactly. And what's crazy is how much people care about your smoothie picture. They really do. Besides pictures of my dog, I would say food pictures get the most engagement.
Yeah, people actually they like my hiking pictures, so yeah. I'm glad. Actually, you know what? People want you to be social on social. So they want you to interact with them. They want you to see like a glimpse of what's going on in your day to day, and they want to be able to like this. We're sharing a glimpse of our personalities. We're talking about things that matter to us. We're talking about topics of interest for us and our audience. And, we're building more of a tribe by sharing our information. And, you'll get more people that are interested in the chirogram because of your aptitude to share good quality information about why it's important.
I think it's a good segue into a major obstacle for people sort of in this new world is transparency. Mm-hmm. So there's this idea that I have to create perfect content, like I have to perpetuate the image of, what my practice is and who I am. And increasingly with social, what it has the scary power to do is sort of separate the, the dross from the quality and in front of people, because it would be exhausting to try to perpetuate the perfect, idea of who you are all the time. You have to just be yourself. And what that will do is create, through documenting what you're doing, that opportunity for people to see who you are and leverage a following of 50,000 people to build relationships with other like-minded people who are attracted to what you are and who you are. And that's its power. So it's kind of quickly killing, I would say, fake facade.
Well, I think that, one of my mentors told me once that you don't have to get it right, but you have to get it going.
And
Yeah,
I think that, what I did is I just got it going, and then I met you, and now we're getting it right.
yeah,
But let's give some people like a couple
sure.
quick tips. Let's talk hashtags, and
Yep.
let's talk time of the day to post.
I was actually talking to a doc this morning about that. We were going through his consult call, and hashtags are a big question. So I would say you're going to have the best success if you have less than 15. So like 10 to 12 is a sweet spot. Within that 10 to 12, you want to kind of break it up into little pillars. First of all, do not throw all of your hashtags in the caption. You should anyway have a nice long form caption. Long form captions are doing the best, not just a sentence, but maybe 150 words or even maybe a little bit more, describing and creating value around the photo that you posted. And then at the end, or maybe somewhere in there, it could be hashtag and then whatever is relevant specifically to that post, maybe two. Um, Beyond that, you're going to have 10 to 12 left that I want you to put in the first comment because it can look kind of spammy and salesy. And we're a little bit older, so we don't maybe realize it. But but what you're going to find is people that are native and spend a lot of time on Instagram who you're trying to get your story out to can recognize BS from a mile away. And as soon as they see 30 hashtags, they're like, salesy. You want to create your brand through authenticity, not through being a brand, not through being a company. You want to be you and have authenticity in who you are, which will establish your brand. So maybe one or two hashtags in the caption. And then in the first comment, now let's break down what we're going to do there that's strategic, right? The first pillar, I'd say if there's three, would be what are people looking for on Instagram and typing in and searching that is relevant to what you do and especially your post. And this could be conditions that people are looking up. This could be exercises. This could be, if it's more on your end, it could be marketing tips. It could be things that are going to be relevant to what you can provide people and also their need. So that's kind of like one pillar. Second would be sort of specific to you and I would say almost your industry. So if it's a chiropractor, like hashtag chiropractic. If you do Atlas orthogonal, hashtag Atlas orthogonal. If you do Graston work, maybe a hashtag that comes up related to that. You're creating kind of specific niche that are gonna be repetitive. Beyond that, you should have one or two hashtags that are unique to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for me, it's get your neck checked. That's our brand. It's on my t-shirts. That is mine. I own that hashtag, except for a handful of thyroid people that'll throw it up. Get your neck checked. I own that kind of real estate. When you go to look for get your neck checked, it's me, right? You'll have one. Joe chiropractor down the street will have one. Another one of mine is like ask Dr. Collins. Those are kind of my hashtags, right? Beyond that, you would want to hit hyper local. So the story I always use for this is in my town, there's people that do this like game where they have rocks and they'll
Mm-hmm.
paint the rock with a little design and they'll go hide it. And then somebody else will find the rock. They'll take a picture of it and then they'll go hide it somewhere else. And it's this game where all over town there's these little rocks, right? It's called Martin County Rocks, right? There is not anybody else that is using the hashtag Martin County Rocks besides people in my town. So you would want to take a little time, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but start growing a little cachet of like 1 to 4 hyper local specific. And if you're really lazy, just do like hashtag in your town. But I would really take the time to do this so that you're being a bullseye for anybody who's looking up stuff in your town because only people locally are going to post it. So
Well,
you'll, and the reason it matters, just to give a bigger why, your hashtags are how people are going to find you besides like what Chirogram's doing where it's going out and reaching out to people. Your hashtag is purely a search function. And recently Instagram made it possible to search by hashtag.
yep.
So you owe it to yourself to have hashtags in that first comment. So you have condition specific or need specific kind of tags, maybe 3 or 4 of them. You're going to have, what was the other one I said? You're going to have
Location.
location-based ones. You're going to have industry-specific ones, maybe 3 or 4 of these. Then you're
One
going to
one
have like,
that one that
yeah,
signifies who you are in a way. Like I own
yeah,
Chiro Hustle. Like
yeah.
no one else is posting Chiro Hustle hashtags except for me.
Gonstead Rising. I love it. But so that's kind of your within that, and you can kind of play with them and see. And don't always go by when you type it in the search bar what the number is that comes up. It's going to be more of like how often it's actually used, which may
Yeah.
take a little bit of investigation. But I would do that, looking up stuff that people are researching and using that versus sort of random hashtags that sound cool in your head. I
Yeah.
would really try to use them um, strategically and always be refining them because you don't want to have a lot so that you don't look cheesy.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic boot camp, California Jam, Move Well University, the Black Diamond Club, Pure Chiro Notes, the Chiro Dex app, Dr. Alok Trivedi, Chiro Spark, Chirogram, Chiropractic Wealth Management, 8 Weeks to Wellness, Integrative Freedom, and Element Mattresses. Let's hustle.
Well, that's just it too. Is anybody that's doing this and they don't know really what we're talking about? Instagram is a picture language and hashtags is a search language. And when you have proper pictures tied in with proper language, you have proper search possibility and you have better coverage. It's not just posting pictures and posting hashtags. It's about putting a language together to where you become more effective with being on social media. And I think that that's something that people don't really understand is that hashtags is a language and pictures that are on Instagram are a language of their own. They have to be compelling. They have to be good. Like what'd you say? My dog pictures blow up. My food pictures blow up. You know, having the proper tag matters as well. So you have to have the proper amount, 150 words. I mean, a couple sentences with a couple 2 to 3 hashtags in that description, and then first comment 10 to 12 in that first comment, and now you have an effective post.
Yep. And you can do more. Like for Chirogram, the ones I'll put up will also include more industries. Like if you're gonna veer on the side of doing more than 10 to 12, up to 30, you can put more. I would spend the time looking up things that people are going to research. So maybe more conditions that you treat, stuff like that. Up to 30 though. What you mentioned is a good segue to content. So a lot of people like, what do I post? In general, you want to, I would say what and when. You want to post in your feed. And you have to separate feed from story. And if you're new to Instagram, this can be a little confusing. Feed, when you click on somebody's account, it's going to be all of those photos and videos that are up to a minute going down, like that's their feed. You're going to have their avatar, their bio with like one link that you can have, and then feed. Boom, 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 boom. Your feed should be composed of, think of it like a business card. It can be your behind the scenes photos, right? But they're not crappy photos. They should be well lit. You should know what's behind you. Right? You don't want the bathroom door open with the toilet seat up and stuff. You should know what's behind you. And when you walk in a room, if you're going to take a picture or have somebody take a picture, you should know where the light is. You should know that that's natural light coming from that window. I'm going to stand in front of that window and make sure what's behind me looks doctorly. So you have a well-lit photo. It should be stuff that speaks to like doctorness. I don't even know if that's a thing, but like,
Chiropractically.
like Chiro-ness. So you work on people. And if you're concerned about that, have them sign just a video release or a, content release for social media. You working on people. Photos of your face. People want to anchor to a person. So avoid the cardinal sin of memes. I find a lot of doctors are lazy and they don't know what else to post. So it'll be an account full of infographic word on a photo memes.
So annoying.
It's like a lion roaring with like a bunch of words about courage. And no.
So annoying.
you want to follow people, photograph you.
Yeah.
Have your CA take a picture of you working on somebody that's well lit. Photos of what you treat, and then the caption, like let's say it's you sports taping somebody's ACL, and then you're talking about in the caption 150 words about ACL tears and rehab and stuff like that. Valuable content. A really close macro shot of your Graston tool or your Atlas orthogonal adjusting instrument head. Really cool artistic, because Instagram was and always will be, like you said, it's a photo-based app. It is beautiful, artistic, but also behind the scenes photos, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
and you create a collage through the feed that speaks to who you are and what you're about.
Sure. And when I'm following someone, Doc, and I see that all they have is memes and and they do reposts of other people's stuff, and I don't see a picture like they have
repost.
But when they have like 50 pictures on their feed and like one of them is of them, I don't trust that person.
No.
Like every fifth picture should be like a picture of you with like what you said, your occupation, your work life, or your family life, or something with your your extracurricular life. If you're into yoga, post a couple of pictures of you doing yoga. If you're into hiking, post a couple of pictures of you doing hiking. If you like fixing cars, post a couple of pictures of you wrenching on your car. Whatever it might be, your interest is, let people into your life with a little glimpse of that photo, because when people do find you eventually, they will check out your Facebook or your Instagram feed, and they will see how awesome and genuine you are. Or if you're not genuine, they're not going to interact with you.
Exactly. And I think that's what a lot of people are afraid of. They're afraid of will people not like me? So memes are a safe, I have an Instagram account for the practice, and it's all like, quotes and stuff.
Or like little cartoons or whatever that aren't theirs.
Yeah. So they exactly, Michelle. People want you. And you're basically giving them an opportunity to be a part of your practice. And this is a great example. When people come in from Instagram to your practice, I don't know how to describe this phenomenon. It's not like you're famous, but they already know you.
Mm-hmm.
You start talking and they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw that. You were doing this with Parker and that happened." And you forget these people have already have an established relationship with you before you've ever met them, because you've got 200 pictures up of what you've been doing for the last year that they've followed, and they know you. They know what you do. You don't have to explain what you do in a lot of detail, just that you can help them. It's perfect. It's like a dream come true.
It's a law of attraction through transparency.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you how many times I go to a big event and somebody like intimately knows me because of they watch my Facebook feed or they watch my Instagram thing, and they actually like have conversations with me about things that I didn't know that they knew about.
Yeah. It's kind of weird for you because you don't know them as well, but it's so nice that there's that amicable thing, that substrate currency that you're like floating.
I call it Chiro famous.
Yeah, there you go.
and I'll be at Cal Jam here in a couple of weeks, and I actually have a little social anxiety, man, because I feel like so many people are going to know me, and I'm gonna feel like this this law of attraction draw to like go meet people and to like know who everyone is. Like if somebody interacts with me and I don't know who they are, like I feel like this like weird, like, my psyche's kind of like beating me up, and it's like, how am I going to know everybody
what do I do?
Exactly. What, I mean, I guess that you probably can't answer that for me, but I just feel like, going out to like these big events and not knowing everybody but they know me through social.
Love on them, dude. Love on them.
Okay,
You'll have people that just look at you for a little bit too long. That's the best way to do it. They'll look at you a little bit too long, and that they've been watching you. And even though you don't know them, man, hey, how are you? You watch a podcast? Like, pleasure to meet you. What's your name? Like, how can I help you?
Let's get you on the show.
Yeah, what do you do? It's perfect. And it's the reason that you do it at the end of the day. That's why don't let any anxiety creep in. It's a reason that you do this, because you want to bring awareness to your brand and what you do and how you can help them. So it's already created that introduction, just like doctors in practice. It's created
what I'm telling you is I'm still fallible. I'm still a
Of
human, and
course,
I still have insecurities, and I still
of
have,
course.
even though I put my face on Facebook and I do interviews every day, I still have like these insecurities of how do people see me, and what should I say when I see somebody I don't know? Like those are
Yep.
like, I mean, that's the
Legit.
social fear.
Legit. Yeah. Usually, I find the things I'm the most afraid of like that when I get that feeling is you walking into your destiny kind of thing. It's like
I know.
you said you pray, right? Like
Oh yeah. Oh
if
yeah.
you believe in the devil, man, like he does not want you to be successful. So the very thing that you're supposed to be doing, there'll be that giant roadblock seemingly in front of it, but it's not real. You know?
Yeah, and it's really cool, like this interaction that we have with our audience even today. We get a
Yep.
chance to talk to Michelle through distance. We get a chance to talk
Yep.
to Tom and Tim and Jose and Scott Little and everybody that's on like the feed with us. We get a chance to like interact with our tribe and our people. And
Yep.
I'm not afraid of them because they obviously love the brand Cairo Hustle. They know that I'm out here campaigning for a better future of chiropractic.
Yep.
That's how I got you as an alliance for a sponsor. You saw what I was doing. You saw
Yep.
me every day in the feed. You saw me every day making new
You're doing it.
connections,
You're doing
figuring out ways to like, transcend. But now the thing, Christopher, is what
Yep.
we need to do is we need to quit, sprinkling the information to the choir. We need to quit giving them leaflets on how to sing better. We need to
Yep.
figure out how to bridge this out, like what you're doing, into the mainstream and bringing people in, harvesting people from the socials into
That's
the
it.
clinics.
And that's what Instagram has the special capability to do.
It's amazing.
I find Facebook far more limited based on how it's designed as a platform. Instagram is really designed for new friends. So, you can follow people on Facebook, but it doesn't translate into more people following you. They've really postured themselves, and from a business standpoint, it's very intelligent. But from a social standpoint, it's painful as a business. You have to dump money into reaching new audiences. There's so much competition on Facebook in that feed that you have to dump a lot of cash. It's expensive to get your content in front of new eyes. Not the case with Instagram.
And it
People
wasn't
have
that way. And it wasn't that way 3 years ago with Facebook.
no, no,
I've only been on the platform for going on 4 years. And when I first got on, everybody pretty much saw your posts. And then they changed
yep,
the algorithm to, oh, a certain percentage will see your post. And then, you change it again. And then the next thing happens. And now the next thing happens. And honestly, I said to my friend the other night, I don't enjoy being on Facebook as much.
you're
I'm
not
not
the
having
only one.
I'm not having as much fun, and people aren't interacting with me. When I would make a comment or a post,
Yep,
even 6 months ago, I'd get over 100 comments on it. Now
yep,
I put something out there that, like, even today, I said, "Do the best chiropractic marketers get 4 year degrees?" I have like one effing comment on there. Like, I'm
because
like,
it you're not the only one. It's not just the algorithm. I think there's less engagement. I think people are sick
because
of
people are turned off by it.
yeah,
But that's why, honestly, why I think what you've done is really smart with Chirogram, because I think Instagram is the next wave and it's the smart thing to do. And I think that people do want like organic growth and interaction with people.
yeah,
It's still, it's kind of untapped in my opinion.
yeah,
And there's still a lot of room for growth with on the
exactly.
platform.
Where Facebook's power, I think, like I said, is events. Because you have so many people that are on Facebook, you can do an ad for an event for your practice. Like I do a dinner with a doc ad, and you'll get leads, especially if you've taken, let's say, and Blake Kalkstein, I actually saw
I
this
love
push.
Blake.
Yeah, he did a like a waterfall, he called it, where he put up video content on, a very powerful video of somebody being treated with a condition. It harkens back to chiropractic, the Gonstead guy. I can't think of his name right now.
Tom
He's
Potisk.
Australian dude.
Oh, Ian.
Ian, right? And he
Dr.
would put up these
Ian.
powerful like videos of people's lives being changed and get millions of views, right?
Oh, that guy's, I don't know what he's done, but
Stud.
he's like,
Beautiful. He
he's,
tells a story
he's an
that's
anchor.
dramatic. Yeah, he
The
tells
dude's
a
an
story that's
anchor.
dramatic. So
Uh-huh.
you have that style of a video, right? And then your next video that you're using an ad to target a percentage of the people who watched that one, which is your very attractive video, 25 or 50% of that video. Then you throw an ad at those viewers using a pixel, right? And then the
Mm-hmm.
ones who watch that video, you could throw like your dinner with a doc event ad at that. But that's all very expensive. It's all very expensive. It works, but it's a lot of energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instagram isn't that way. You don't have to do that to get the same kind of eyes. And the algorithm is always subject to change, but right now, Instagram is a really special place. And besides like a handful of groups that I follow on Facebook or seeing what has been updated on what I put out, I find myself consuming Facebook content less and less.
Mm-hmm.
And I find myself more and more cruising Instagram, checking out stories, which that was where I was going with the last conversation is stories. Besides your feed, you should be updating your story daily. So feed maybe 1 to 3 times a week. You could even do it daily, but your story, which is in that top left corner, you'll have your little avatar and you'll see little rings around it when you get on there. Update your story with behind the scenes, Snapchat-esque updates of what you're doing so that you stay that top little avatar in their bar. You want to be top of mind. Every time they log in, they see your logo because you're the last story that came up.
Well, I got 5 minutes here before
Cool.
my next call, but thanks for joining me today. Thank you for the shout out for Blake Kalkstein. I know he runs Chiro Spark. He's one of the sponsors of the Chiro Hustle podcast.
Yep.
I feel like I got lucky by getting some of the smartest guys out there and smartest groups with me as sponsors for our podcast, Chiro Hustle. Thank you for being a sponsor. Before we jump off, just tell two people who they should follow on Instagram so they can like kind of follow somebody that they can mimic.
Yep. If you want to follow me, I have a very brand-based account. So it's more of an Instagram brand as a doctor account. And it's the neck doc because I do upper cervical. Beyond that, you have a lot of different kinds of accounts. Your biggest chiropractor right now, as far as I can tell, is going to be Josh Axe at like $250,000.
Well, that's good, man. Let's just leave them with that. I think that what's their appetite. Anybody that's watched it up to this point are going to follow the neck doc, and they're going to follow Dr. Josh Axe. Thank you for being a sponsor for the Chiro Hustle podcast, man. It means the world to me.
Right
I know that I'm not going anywhere. I have actually ramped it up to put out 365 interviews this year before the year ends. So
And
if
if somebody's watching this, I think you're a bonehead if you're not involved with Jim. You got a sweet guy who's like honestly grinding and trying to do good. There's no selfish or nasty bone in his body. You want to align with this guy because it's going to be 2 or 3 years from now and he's going to win. He's slow. He's the turtle, man, but he's going to completely amass that because he's doing it for the right reasons. So I encourage you guys to get involved with him. He's super freaking cheap to get involved with, to be a sponsor. So you owe it to yourself to do that. If you guys are wanting to help chiropractors, he is going to build a massive audience because he's aligned with a lot of the right people too. He's smart. So if that helps, I firmly believe that as a plug. So
yeah, and I'll leave it with this. It's a Les Brown quote, and it's not over until I win. And
I feel
I think
the same way, man. I feel like the underdog, like the outsider underdog, and I will win because I'm going to grind. Do it for all the right reasons kind of thing. So
well, hey man, love and appreciate you. Thank you everybody out there in the chiropractic world or my friends world that's non-chiro. Thank you for participating with us today on this live stream of Chiro Hustle sponsorship episode. Dr. Chris, enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Blessings, man. Take it easy. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you.
Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.